goodness. Tired. But you know what? That's not important. We gotta make the video because it's morphin' time up in this piece. Yes, please. What? Not gonna lie, that is actually really good. I am low-key becoming like one of those coffee drinking YouTubers. So as you guys know, I have been getting very acquainted using the Dji Action 2, and I've been taking a bunch of notes. So in this video, we're gonna talk about 9 hacks and tips for your Dji Action 2. And now, pimp, this is just to make your life a little bit easier, and it's some things I haven't heard people talk about, and one really good one that a couple of people have been talking about. All right, let's stop beating around the bush and just get into these tips, starting with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is the battery display. And now I'm throwing this tip in there because I didn't know this and I haven't seen anybody talk about it. So to display how much battery you have left for the camera as well as the charger, all you have to do, actually just click on the battery. And after you click on the battery, it will show you a full display of how much battery life you have left, both on the camera as well as the charger. And now if you don't get the dual screen display because you are a boss and you don't really need it, you can also do this as well with just the camera, just by clicking on the battery display on the camera, and it will show you the battery percentage, pimp, so you are still good. You don't need the dual screen display. So moving on to tip number 2. Now, tip number 2 has to deal with camera modes. And now, to switch through camera modes very quickly, all you have to do is double press the button quickly, and now you can switch through camera modes such as video, quick clip, all the camera modes that are in that, pimp, you can switch through them by just using the button. If you feel like living dangerous, like you on the dangerous side, you can also switch through modes by just swiping from left to right, using your finger to go through the modes. And now for me, I am a button person, especially when it comes to my cameras. I'm a button guy. I like to double tap to go through my modes quickly and efficiently. That's hack number 2. And now if you are like me, you actually like the new drip, and the new drip on the street, I mean, what's hot in the street these days is magnetic mounting. I mean, magnets in general are just like blowing up. And so when the Insta3060 Go2 was introduced, and it turns out you can mount this thing anywhere, I was itching. That was one of the main reasons I bought the camera. I love the magnetic mounting. I didn't like the camera so much, but I love the magnetic mounting. And hands down, that is actually one of my favorite features of the new Dji Action 2. But if you notice, the magnets are actually on the bottom. You just want to use the camera and stick it on anywhere. Most likely, you're gonna be sticking it on sideways, which is gonna give you vertical footage. Hack number 3 is you can actually set this up sideways but still get horizontal footage using the 2.7K horizon leveling. So to get horizontal footage anywhere you go, no matter how you mount it, turn on horizon steady and boom, pimp, you are good. But first you gotta do one thing, and you have to actually turn the camera horizontally, press record first, and then mount the camera wherever you want. But just remember, press record first. Guys, come on, tell me that's not gangster. That was tip number 3. All right, rolling over to tip number 4. Tip number 4 actually has to do with image quality, especially in low light, and that is that little jitter that you get with using the optical image stabilization, and this tip has to deal with actually getting less of that jitter. But to be real though, this tip actually works with almost any action camera, and I actually noticed it on the Gopro Hero 10. So to get less of that optical image stabilization jitter, all you have to do is actually kind of simple. Bump up the frame rate. Shooting at 30 frames per second versus shooting at 60 frames per second actually makes a big difference when it comes to that jittering. And if you know why, please let me know. I'm like dying to know why GoPros and action cameras have a lot less jitter in higher frame rates. If anybody can let me know, just let me know in the comments below. My beanie is falling down. Let me fit my beanie. All right, now moving on to tip number 5. Wait, are we on tip number 5 or 4? Anyway. All right, now, tip number 5 actually has to do with making you feel a little bit more comfortable using the camera. So let's just say you're out in public, you're vlogging, and you kind of don't want people to know when you're recording. You want to use the chest mount, you want to use the mouth mount. You want to use whatever you want to use, right? Well, the best thing to do is to make sure you pop into that settings menu and turn off LEDs as well as the sound. Now, this will not turn off the sound for the video, it will just turn off the sound for the camera. So every time you press record, you won't hear a beep. And when people are looking at the camera, you won't see a red light. This is a huge thing for me because you guys already know, yes, I am getting more comfortable filming in public, but also it is a bit weird, especially when you have it in your mouth. So yeah, that is a really good tip to help you feel a little bit more comfortable using the camera as well as saving some battery life, which leads us right into tip number 6, and that is preventing overheating as well as saving a little bit of juice. Because let's just face it, you're gonna be shooting this thing a lot. To be real though, this actually has great battery. But yeah, you just wanna save some juice and you try not to get lost in the sauce, swing into the settings menu and make sure you tweak a couple of things. For example, turning off the screen while recording within 30 seconds. Another thing you can do is also turn off the device if it's not being used within 30 seconds. That will help you save a bunch of battery. And also, that means once you're pressed record and you're done recording, you can just toss it in your pocket and forget about it. It will turn off automatically within 30 seconds. And to be real, I set all of my cameras up this way, and that's probably why I haven't had no overheating issues, minus like the little charging bit. But yeah, I haven't had any overheating issues while recording with this camera as well as the GoPro, because a lot of times when I'm recording, the screens are off. And also, like the GoPro, if you're recording and you want to see what's going on just for a quick hot second, just tap the screen and boom, your display is back. No harm, no foul. You are good to go. Let's move on to tip number 7. All right, for tip number 7, let's just say pimpin'. You have your camera set up so that it turns off the screen within 30 seconds, but you wanna change that because you just wanna see what's going on a little bit longer. Quick solution. All you gotta do while the camera's on, while it's recording, swipe from the top to the bottom of the camera, and instead of bringing up a menu, it would actually bring up an option for you to select a longer duration of how long you want the screen on. You can choose 30 seconds, you can choose 60, you can choose whatever you want on that menu, and there you go. Now the screen will stay on for as long as you want. Moving on to tip number 8. Ugh. Oh no. All right, and now for tip number 8. Now, if you've seen any of my videos talking about the Dji Action 2, you'll know that one of my complaints about this amazing camera is that it gets a little warm while it's charging. And also, it tends to charge even when the camera is fully charged, which is a bit strange. I'm gonna be real, pimp. That I don't like that. But there's pretty much nothing I can do about it, so I just use this hack instead. So that the camera's not constantly charging, and if I know the camera's at 100% and I don't need to charge, to prevent it from getting warm and to continue to charge, all you have to do is actually connect them from the bottom. And there you go. Now the camera will not charge as well as it won't get hot. And now this is a big deal for me because the only time the camera actually overheated and shut off was when I was charging it, and then I was like, oh, that's pretty hot. And I was like, let me get the shot really quick. Boom, and then boom. Because the camera was so warm while it was charging, I couldn't get the shot that I wanted. So from now on, what I do is actually turn them upside down if I know the camera is already charged. Guys, come on, that is a boss tip. Come on. And now, tip number 9 is something that I actually haven't heard anyone talk about either, and that is selecting where you want to view your footage. So let's just say you're just using the camera only and doing some recording on the camera's internal memory only. But when you connect it back to the battery module or the dual lens module, which you don't need, pimpin', don't, trust me, you don't need it. When you go to view what you just shot, that was shot on the actual camera's internal storage, for some reason it always defaults back to the SD card when plugged in to the battery module or the dual lens module. But you actually can select to view material from the internal memory by going into playback menu, tapping on the top left icon, and at the top right in the middle, you'll see SD card. Now if you tap on the SD card or the arrow, it will drop down the menu and it will allow you to select from the SD card or internal storage to view what footage you shot. So by clicking on the internal storage, now I can see the stuff that I just shot in the hallway. Moving on to tip number 10. All right, and now tip number 10 or hack number 10, whatever you want to call it, is by far one of my favorites. And that's because it was another thing that I had a complaint about, and that was transferring footage from the internal memory to the SD card. It took a long time and it just seemed very inconvenient. But little did I know is that if you take out the SD card and then plug it into your computer with the camera connected, you can access the internal memory. Boss, that is a lifesaver because it's so much quicker to transfer the files. Yes, this is my favorite hack of all time, and that is accessing the internal memory from the computer. And yes, that was tip number 10, but I have one more tip for you guys because you guys are a bunch of bosses and I love your faces. So let's get into that little secret tip, and this one's a good one too as well. All right, and now the last tip, the secret tip, the tip of all tips, the hacks of all hacks. And believe me when I say it, you're gonna like this one. So if you stuck around to the end of the video, thank you and enjoy this one. So the secret bonus ninja tip is that you can use any, and I'm saying any external microphone with the new Dji Action 2. You'll just need a couple of things and you are good to go pimping. First of all, you're gonna need one of these USB Type-C to 3.5mm jack adapters. And then this one is very important, so pay attention. You will need this specific cable. If you wanna use any mic for the Dji Action 2, you will need 3.5mm TRS to TRRS cable to make this work. And I'm telling you, it works. And now I am gonna leave a link of one of these babies as well as this baby as well down below, just in case you don't have any idea what I'm talking about. If you use the regular cable that comes with a lot of mics like this one, it is not going to work. So you have to pick up one of these. So to get this going, you have to make sure that you plug the part that has 3 lines on it into the adapter. Then you're gonna plug the adapter into the camera. For this test, I'm gonna use the Rode Wireless Go. But again, this works with any mic. You gotta make sure you have this piece though, the TRS to TRRS cable. Just make sure, pimp, if you got that, you good. And then from here, you're just gonna connect it like you would any external mic. And now, side note, I just went ahead and put this hot shoe on here. It's a sticky hot shoe, so put it on, take it off whenever you want. And now, once you have everything plugged in and you have the right cables, you are set. You will see a little mic at the top, and you will actually see it going up and down, and you are good to go. Tell me that's not a good hack, right? Come on. And now, from what I've been seeing online, you can also connect digital microphones to the camera as well, meaning it has to go from USB-C to USB-C microphone. So keep that in mind. If you do not have a mic that goes from USB-C to USB-C, it will not work. You'll need one of these cables. So not only do you have the drip, you are bringing the sauce. And what's crazy is these 2 cables are not that expensive. The sticky mount too as well is pretty cheap. I think you get a pack of them for like $3. So I will leave the links down below. Pimp really quick. Please don't quote me on these prices. Keep in mind inflation. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just trying to save you monies, okay? Like guys, to be real, this is a very cheap adapter and it's a throwaway for me. Like if I lose it, I can just get a new one, you know? So yeah, if you are tight on a budget and you want some really good external audio, yes, use this setup. I will leave links for everything down below. But that is it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button because you know it helps out the channel a lot. And also hit that subscribe button if you're new because you are a boss and we are on our way to 10K. It is coming and I'm excited. So hit that subscribe button if you are new and you liked what you saw and you just want to see some more of this face. Hit that subscribe button. And also, if I missed any hacks or tips, leave it in the comments below to help out the community. Like, this is the Ninja Ball Squad, so feel free to share with everybody. But anyway, thanks again for watching. If you want to see some real life tests with the Dji Action 2, click on this video right here, pimp. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Up a tree, clinging to a cloud.